Welcome back to the deep dive, everyone. Hello, Dingo viewers. Today, we're jumping into one of TV's most talked about transformations.
Absolutely. It's a story that's maybe less about someone becoming totally new and more about peeling back the layers, right? Revealing what was maybe hiding there all along.
And oh boy, does that hit home for the character we're tackling today.
We are talking, of course, about Walter White from Breaking Bad. I mean, a character almost everyone agrees is one of the greats.
Definitely. The guy Vince Gilligan famously said went from Mr. Chips into Scarface.
That's the one. And our mission today, well, it's to dig way deeper than just the surface plot points. We want to really get into the nitty-gritty of this incredibly complex anti-hero.
Exactly. This isn't your average recap. Think of it more as a deep dive into the actual chemistry of his change, if you will.
Nice chemistry pun there.
Had to be done. But seriously, we've gone through a ton of stuff, articles, academic papers, even some really passionate fan discussions online.
Right. To try and unravel Walter White's psychological journey step by step, and also the symbolism, which, wow, is just packed into the show.
And of course, the ripple effects, the consequences of everything he does.
Ultimately, it's about looking at how brilliant television, how cinema, uses a character like Walt to explore these huge universal ideas. Power, ego, consequences.
What makes a seemingly ordinary guy become a monster? And maybe, just maybe, what does that reflection tell us about, well, ourselves?
It's a heavy question, but Breaking Bad tackles it with such incredible depth and nuance. So yeah, get ready.
We're going to unpick this whole intricate thing. Look at how the show built this character arc that just blew people away and still sparks endless debate.
Not just fans either, but like you said, psychologists, literary folks, everyone has a take.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning then. The man we meet, Walter Hurtwell White, it's his 50th birthday.
And celebrating might be a strong word,
Yeah.
more like enduring it.
Right. What a picture. High school chemistry teacher, overqualified, underpaid, husband, father of two. His son, Walt Jr., has cerebral palsy.
And that part-time job, the car wash cashier gig, oof, it's like insult added to injury.
He's basically the definition of the everyman at this point, isn't he? Just struggling. But beneath that, there's this palpable, quiet desperation, insecurity, and this resentment just simmering away.
That car wash job, like you said, it wasn't just about extra cash. A lot of the analysis points to it being this daily humiliation ritual.
Yeah, like a constant reminder of how far he felt his life had missed the mark.
And it's crucial to get that initial picture. He's presented as meek, timid, kind of perpetually scared almost.
His clothes, too, so drab, greens, browns, beige, just blending in, trying to disappear.
Exactly. Bryan Cranston, who just became Walt, apparently even put on about 10 pounds for the start of the show.
Really? Why?
Sort of a subtle physical cue, maybe foreshadowing the illness, but also just adding to this general feeling of decline, of being worn down.
And didn't he help design the mustache, too?
Yeah. That slightly impotent mustache, as one interview called it. It all builds this picture of a guy whose life force is just suppressed. Emasculated even.
It's these little details, right? They add up. You immediately get this sense of profound unfulfillment, wasted potential, because we find out pretty quickly this guy's actually brilliant.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. That wasted potential, that brilliance, that's really where the seeds of this whole transformation start to germinate, isn't it?
We have to talk about gray matter technologies. His past.
The ghost at the feast, basically.
Totally. So Walt wasn't just any chemist. He was a co-founder of this company, Gray Matter. Hugely successful revolutionary work.
But he left. He sold his shares early on, prematurely, for, get this, $5,000.
$5,000. It's almost comical if it weren't so tragic.
Meanwhile, his former partners, Elliot Schwartz and Gretchen, his ex-girlfriend no less.
Yeah, that adds another layer of awkwardness and pain.
They go on to make billions, billions with a B, from his research. His ideas, the groundwork he laid.
The sheer scale of that disparity. It's staggering. How do you even process that?
You probably don't. Not really. And this whole gray matter episode, his leaving, it's undeniably the bedrock of his entire psychology. It's this wound that just festers.
All the academic stuff we looked at points to this, right? It breeds this deep, deep envy.
Searing envy, yeah. And this sort of disdain for Elliot and Gretchen, who he probably saw as less brilliant but somehow more successful.
Yeah.
And just a massively wounded ego.
I saw one really interesting fan analysis, I think it was on Reddit, suggesting his insecurity, especially around Gretchen, coming from money. Might have been why he bolted. Took the buyout instead of sticking it out.
That makes a lot of sense. He couldn't handle feeling inferior, maybe, so he retreated. Whatever the exact reason, the outcome was this pervasive sense that he'd fundamentally wasted his life, his potential.
And that's where you get this inferiority complex idea and the, what was the term he used? Compensatory narcissism.
Right, compensatory narcissism. Think of it like a psychological defense. It comes from feeling really inadequate deep down, shamed maybe.
So to cover that up.
You overcompensate. You develop this desperate need to prove you're superior. You crave validation. Grandiosity becomes a mask for fragility.
So Walt believes he's brilliant, which he is, but the world hasn't seen it, hasn't acknowledged it.
And that injustice fuels everything. The desire to build an empire, to be the kingpin, to finally get the respect, the fear, the power he feels he was denied. It's all masking the insecure teacher who sold out for peanuts.
Just pause and think about that for a second if you're listening. Imagine pouring your genius into something, the foundation of a multi-billion-dollar success, and walking away with $5K.
While you're scrubbing bird poop off windshields.
Exactly. And you watch your former partners living the high life. How would that sit with you day after day, year after year? It would curdle inside you, wouldn't it?
It's more than just the money, too. It's the recognition, the feeling of being cheated out of his legacy, this deep existential insult.
And then his daily life just constantly reinforces it. The low pay, the students who just don't care about the beauty of chemistry that he sees.
That constant crushing feeling of being an underachiever, a failure, it grinds him down, adds fuel to that internal fire of resentment.
Even his family life, which should be a comfort, kind of twists the knife sometimes. Unintentionally, maybe.
You mean like Skylar handling the finances?
Yeah, that perception of her being in control of the money. And Walt Jr. looking up to Hank, the macho DEA agent brother-in-law.
It all feeds into Walt's feeling of being diminished, powerless, emasculated, even within his own home.
He says it himself, doesn't he, in that family intervention scene early on. I never really felt like I had one, a choice.
God, that line is devastating. It just sums up his whole existence before everything changes. A life lived on rails without any real say.
So you've got these constant external humiliations rubbing up against the deep internal resentment, the wounded pride from gray matter.
It's a pressure cooker, building up this desperate desire for, well, for everything he feels he lacks. Recognition, power, money, control, absolute control.
This toxic sludge is just sitting there waiting, waiting for a spark.
And boy, does it get one. A hell of a spark. The catalyst.
The death sentence, that becomes his liberation. It sounds so twisted.
It is twisted. Stage 3, lung cancer. Inoperable. Terminal. Delivered on his 50th birthday. Talk about timing.
For a guy who, as you said, seemed defined by fear of everything, fear of the future, fear of not being enough.
Suddenly, the ultimate fear, death, becomes a certainty. The great unknown is known, and paradoxically, that frees him.
It removed his biggest fear.
In a dark way, yes, it gives him this paradoxical freedom to just break bad, to shatter all the norms, shed the meek persona, and tap into those darker parts of himself he'd kept locked away.
So it's not like the cancer made him evil.
Not according to most analyses, and not according to Gilligan himself, really. It's more like it unshackled something already there, something lurking.
Like Carl Jung's idea, the shadow self.
Exactly. The shadow, all the hidden, repressed, maybe darker aspects of our personality. Heisenberg isn't a new creation. He's Walter's shadow bursting out, taking over the persona, that polite mask of Mr. White he wore for the world.
The cancer didn't create Heisenberg. It just gave him permission to come out and play.
Permission and maybe a deadline, a reason to stop being afraid of consequences.
Yeah.
We see it almost immediately, don't we? That flicker of confidence, that willingness to lie, to confront, even before he starts cooking.
Right, but he can't just say, hey family, guess what? My repressed ego is finally unleashed.
Huh. No. He needs a cover story, a justification that sounds noble.
Enter the noble lie.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for my family to provide for them after he's gone.
And it's genius writing because it works. It makes the audience sympathize, at least initially. You think, okay, poor guy, dying wish, wants to leave them secure. It hooks you.
It's the perfect moral shield, allows us to go along with him, even as he starts crossing lines.
But that shield gets its first massive crack pretty early on. Season 1, the episode Gray Matter.
Ah, yes. Elliot and Gretchen return.
And they offer him everything he supposedly wants.
Oh, what?
A way out. They offer to pay for all his cancer treatment, no strings attached. Offer him a high-paying job back at Gray Matter.
A legitimate path. Achieve the goal, family security, without breaking any laws.
It's the perfect test of his stated motive.
And he refuses. Furiously. calls it charity, face-saving bullshit. He sees it as an insult.
Bingo. That refusal just lays it bare. If it was purely about providing for his family, securing their future, dealing with the medical bills, he takes the offer. No question.
But he doesn't because...
Because it wasn't just about the family anymore. Maybe it never was entirely. His deeply wounded pride, that desperate need for control, for validation on his terms, that was driving the train now.
He had to earn it, build his empire, not take a handout from the people who symbolized his past failure.
Precisely. The family goes from being the reason to being the excuse. His justification, it's classic self-deception. He needs to believe he's doing it for them so he can live with himself.
Man, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How often does that happen? Someone starts with a good intention or what looks like one?
And then ego creeps in. Pride, resentment, and suddenly the original goal is warped, corrupted.
Paving the road to hell with blue meth and excuses.
And this self-justification, this clinging to the noble lie, it starts this process psychologists talk about, cognitive dissonance.
Moral disengagement.
Cognitive dissonance. It's like holding two conflicting ideas at once, right? Like, I'm a good person and I'm dissolving bodies in acid.
Pretty much. It creates mental discomfort. So to reduce that discomfort, you have to either change your actions or change your beliefs. Walt can't stop his actions. The ego won't let him, so he has to keep twisting his beliefs, keep lying to himself.
It's necessary. It's for them. They made me do it.
Exactly. And moral disengagement is like flipping off your conscience, finding ways to justify bad behavior so you don't feel guilty.
Like dehumanizing people. Crazy 8 isn't a person. He's a threat, a problem to be solved.
Or displacing responsibility. I have no choice. Or just minimizing the harm. We see him through all of this. Think about how much he struggles killing Crazy 8 in season 1. The agony.
Compared to later seasons where he's ordering hits like he's ordering pizza, the moral compass just shatters. He becomes numb to it. Or rather, Heisenberg does. The lines blur, then vanish.
And as Walter White fades, Heisenberg rises. That name.
Heisenberg.
Yeah.
So perfect. Named after Werner Heisenberg, the physicist.
And his uncertainty principle, it's not just a cool alias, it's like woven into the show's DNA.
Totally. It reflects his scientific roots, obviously, but also his unpredictability, the moral gray area he lives in. You can never quite pin him down.
The uncertainty principle, it's about how you can't know a particle's exact position and momentum at the same time, right? Observing one changes the other.
Yeah, and that fits Walt perfectly. The more you think you understand his motives, his next move, the more uncertain it all becomes. He's this constantly shifting, morally ambiguous force, even to himself maybe.
It's amazing how they used a physics concept to define a character's psychology. Genius.
And the names. They didn't stop with Heisenberg.
Yeah.
Gilligan and the writers, they were masters of using names as, like, little clues.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah, let's get into those. They're fascinating. Walter White himself.
White, obviously. That starting point of purity, innocence, which he then systematically destroys.
But Walter, doesn't that mean something like ruler or commander?
Ruler of the army, or powerful warrior, from Old German. Chilling foreshadowing, right? Given where he ends up, the kingpin. The one who knocks.
Wow. Okay, Jesse Pinkman.
Pinkman. You think pink, youth, maybe innocence, naivety, especially compared to the brutal world Walt drags him into.
And Jesse, isn't that biblical? It means gift?
Gift, yeah, or God's gracious gift. And in a way, he is kind of Walt's conscience, isn't he? The moral compass Walt keeps trying to ignore or break. Jesse feels things. Walt tries not to.
That makes sense. Okay, Skylar White.
Skylar.
Yeah.
Like this guy. Openness, clarity, maybe. Initially linked to Walt's white innocence, but her journey.
Becomes much darker, stormier.
Exactly. Her sky goes from clear blue to stormy gray as she gets pulled into his world. Her morality gets compromised, reflecting the turmoil Walt creates.
Hank Schrader, the DEA brother-in-law.
Hank, diminutive of Henry, home ruler. Strong, solid. Schrader sounds German, precise, efficient. Fits his investigative nature.
And his hobby, collecting minerals. Rocks.
Reinforces that rock-solid image in a world where everything else is shifting, morally dissolving. He's the anchor.
Until he's not. Okay, Marie Schrader, Hank's wife.
Marie, from Star of the Sea. Guidance, maybe. But then there's the purple.
Oh, God, the purple. Everything is purple.
Symbolizing royalty, luxury, and connected to her kleptomania. That desire for status, for things, clashing with the name's potential meaning. A bit of surface versus depth there.
And the best name ever, Saul Goodman.
It's just perfect, isn't it? Phonetically, it's all good, man. Captures his whole sleazy, morally flexible vibe.
But Saul itself means prayed for, the irony, given how unethical he is.
Total irony. He's the ultimate facade, and the name is his brand.
Lastly, Gustavo Fring, the big bad before Walt became the biggest bad.
Gustavo maybe hints at hidden power, discipline, like Staff of the Goths. Fring sounds like fringe,
Yeah.
operating on the edges.
Fits him perfectly. The calm, professional businessman hiding this ruthless drug lord underneath. Meticulous, controlled.
Every name feels deliberate, like a mini character sketch baked right in.
It's incredible detail, and it extends beyond names, obviously. The colors in the show, it's like they painted with emotion.
Oh, absolutely. The color palette is crucial. It's visual storytelling at its finest, signaling character shifts, themes.
Like red. Danger, right. Power.
Yeah.
Aggression.
Yeah, you see Walt wearing more red as he gets deeper into the Heisenberg persona. Red shirts, jackets, especially in confrontational moments. It's a warning sign.
And white. Starts as purity, innocence. Skylar's clothes early on. The lab suits.
But then it shifts, doesn't it? Becomes associated with death, moral corruption. Those sterile suits feel different when they're making poison.
Right.
And Heisenberg's white pork pie hat blends that old innocence with the new criminal identity.
Green feels pretty obvious. Money.
Money, envy, greed. Walt's envy of gray matter's success, their green lawn. Then the stacks of green cash he accumulates. Green shirts sometimes. It tracks his obsession with wealth and power.
Purple. That's Marie's color, isn't it? Luxury, mystery, kleptomania.
Yeah, almost exclusively hers. Represents that yearning for status she has.
What about black and yellow?
Warning signs. Hazard tape colors. You see it most clearly in the hazmat suits in the lab. Constant visual reminder of the danger, the toxicity of what they're doing.
And blue. Can't talk about Breaking Bad colors without talking about blue.
The signature blue meth. Their unique product. Symbol of their success, their purity in a chemical sense.
But it also seems to represent other things. Loyalty, despair. Jesse wears a lot of blue.
He does. It seems tied to his emotional state. His loyalty to Walt, which gets tested constantly. His guilt, his sorrow. The blue shifts in shade, maybe reflecting his inner turmoil. From the bright product blue to darker, sadder blues.
It's like Gilligan gave us a cinematic Rothko painting, but with more explosions and, existential dread.
That's a pretty good way to put it, actually. And beyond color, there are those recurring visual motifs that just stick with you.
The pink teddy bear. Oh, man.
Unforgettable. Floating in the pool after the plane crash, Walt indirectly caused that one missing eye, the charred fur.
A symbol of innocence lost. The collateral damage.
Absolutely. It's a haunting reminder of the widespread consequences of his actions. And it keeps popping up, doesn't it? On murals. Even mirrored, disturbingly, in Gus Fring's face after the explosion. It's this constant echo of corrupted innocence.
It's pure visual dread. Gets right under your skin.
Yeah.
And the lily of the valley.
Such a delicate flower. Usually symbolizes purity, sweetness.
But Walt uses it.
To poison Brock, a child. To manipulate Jesse into thinking Gus did it. So this symbol of purity becomes twisted into representing the ultimate corruption of innocence. Walt weaponizing something beautiful and harmless.
Shows how far he's willing to go. Nothing is sacred.
And then there's the fly. The entire episode dedicated to a fly in the lab. Season 3's Fly.
Some people love that episode. Some find it slow.
Yeah.
But it's packed with meaning, right?
A masterpiece of minimalist symbolism, many critics say. The fly represents contamination, yeah, but also Walt's paranoia, his obsessive need for control.
He can't control the chaos in his life, so he focuses all his energy on this one tiny contaminant.
Exactly. It's his futile attempt to maintain purity, order, in his increasingly messy, morally filthy criminal world. The fly is the chaos he can't eliminate, no matter how hard he tries. It's his own guilt buzzing around him.
Okay, so we have the setup, the catalyst, the symbols. Let's really dive into the psychology now. Psychoanalyzing Walter White. Particularly, narcissism seems to come up a lot.
It really does. But looking at the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, the DSM-5 criteria, Walt ticks an alarming number of boxes. It's almost like a textbook case study playing out.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, grandiose sense of self-importance. He increasingly believes he's superior to everyone. Other cooks, dealers, even Gus. Expects recognition, demands people say my name.
Right. Thinks he's just inherently better.
Then, preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance. Remember when Declan offers him $5 million for the methylamine? He scoffs. I'm in the empire business. That's pure fantasy of unlimited power.
He truly believes he's special and unique, doesn't he? Only someone like him can handle the chemistry, the business. Worth more in my hands than yours.
Classic narcissistic trait. A desperate need for excessive admiration. He's genuinely heard if his birthday isn't a big deal, and a huge sense of entitlement. His ideas are always right. Why should they vote? His word should be enough.
And the way he uses people, especially Jesse.
Interpersonal exploitation. Big time. Jesse is a tool to him. He manipulates Jesse constantly, uses his emotions, even poisons Brock to get Jesse back on his side. People are pawns.
And zero empathy.
Striking lack of empathy. When Jesse is falling apart emotionally traumatized, Walt's only question is, how do you feel about the money? He just cannot connect with or maybe refuses to acknowledge Jesse's pain.
Wow.
Then there's the envy of others, gray matter, obviously, that fuels him from the start, and just arrogant, haughty behaviors.
Like when Jack Welker points a gun at him. No fear, just defiance. I'm the danger.
By the end, it's gone beyond just compensatory narcissism, masking insecurity. Many analyses suggest it evolves into malignant narcissism, a dangerous combination of narcissism, antisocial behavior, aggression, and paranoia. He becomes truly dangerous.
Looking at it through, say, a Freudian lens, is it like his conscience just shuts down?
You could definitely frame it that way. The superego, the part representing morality, societal rules, it just diminishes, gets overridden. And the id, the primal drives for power, dominance, pleasure, it takes the wheel.
And the ego, the mediator, just goes along for the ride, or helps the id.
It seems like the ego becomes twisted into serving the id's demands. It rationalizes, justifies, finds ways to make the power grabs happen. And what's fascinating is how his self-delusion almost becomes his superpower.
How do you mean?
Those lines like, I am the danger, or say my name, initially they're bluffs, right? He's scared, he's faking it till he makes it.
But by saying it, by believing it.
He becomes it. He lies to himself so effectively that the lie becomes reality. This constant performance of menace actually turns him into the menacing figure. It helps him win conflicts because people believe the performance, and eventually he believes it utterly. He psychologically manifests Heisenberg.
That's terrifying, the power of self-deception. But this transformation, this embrace of Heisenberg, it just devastates his relationships, doesn't it?
Completely corrodes them.
Yeah.
The show is brutal in showing how this kind of ambition and ego just destroys human connection. People become obstacles or tools.
Most tragically with Jesse Pinkman.
Oh, that relationship is the heart of the show's tragedy in many ways. Teacher, student, partners, then this incredibly toxic, manipulative father-son dynamic.
Walt sees himself in Jesse. Or failures.
Both, probably. He projects onto Jesse, and he uses classic narcissistic tactics, sometimes nurturing, protective, trying to teach him, then brutally devaluing him, abusing him emotionally, keeping him dependent. It's all about control.
Watching Jane die, that moment.
Horrifying. He lets her die because she threatened his control over Jesse. And poisoning Brock, using a child's suffering purely to manipulate Jesse back into his fold, turn him against Gus. It's pure evil, calculated.
But Jesse gets the last word, in a way, refusing to kill Walt in the finale.
Yes. That's Jesse's ultimate act of breaking free. It's his redemption, finding his own moral compass again. And for Walt, it's a crushing defeat. His puppet cut the strings. Jesse choosing not to kill is Jesse choosing himself, finally.
Then there's Skylar. Her journey is just agonizing to watch.
It really is. She's the mirror reflecting Walt's decay. Starts off terrified, resistant, moral, but gradually, through fear, coercion, sheer exhaustion, she gets pulled in.
Laundering money, lying, even advising him on practicalities.
Her transformation shows just how destructive and contaminating Walt's path is. He drags her down with him.
And the abuse. By season 5, it's psychological warfare. That scene in the pool.
Where she tries to drown herself, essentially,
Yeah.
to get the kids away from him. It's desperate. And yet, audiences often hated Skylar.
Because she was the one saying no, the one challenging Walt.
Exactly. She saw through him, she voiced the consequences, she threatened his narrative, his control. So even though she was often objectively in the right, she became the antagonist in the eyes of many viewers who were still rooting for the anti-hero. She was the inconvenient truth.
And the contrast with Hank Schrader, their arcs are almost perfectly inverse.
It's brilliant structuring. Walt starts meek, Hank's the loud, confident DEA guy.
Yeah.
Then they swap. Walt finds power in crime. Hank's pursuit of Heisenberg becomes this serious, draining quest that consumes him.
And Hank sometimes unintentionally fueled Heisenberg early on, right? With those comments that emasculated Walt.
To always take care of your family. Well-meaning maybe, but deeply patronizing to Walt's fragile ego. It just added fuel to the fire.
Leading to that tragic climax in Ozymandias, Hank's death.
Devastating. Inevitable, almost. Walt's hubris, his refusal to just let the money go, directly leads to it. Even his desperate pleas for Hank's life come too late. His choices sealed Hank's fate long before that moment.
We should also mention Gus Fring, Walt's rival, but also kind of his role model.
In a twisted way, yes. Walt envied Gus, but also respected him. Gus was everything Walt wanted to be: powerful, disciplined, meticulous, hidden in plain sight. Killing Gus was Walt's ultimate triumph because he wasn't just eliminating a rival, he was trying to become Gus, to take his place at the top.
And Mike Ehrmantraut, the weary professional.
Mike initially has some sympathy for Walt, sees him as smart but in over his head, tries to offer pragmatic advice.
But that changes after Gale, after Gus.
Mike sees the monster emerge, realizes Walt isn't just scared or naive anymore, he's driven purely by selfishness and pride, as Mike tells him right before.
Walt kills him, out of wounded pride, because Mike called him out.
Another relationship destroyed. Another person eliminated because they saw the truth about Walter White. He leaves a wake of destruction.
Which brings us inevitably to that final seismic confession. To Skylar, I did it for me.
Chills. Just absolute chills. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was alive.
It just blows away years of lies, doesn't it? The whole for my family facade crumbles in that one moment.
It's the thesis statement of his entire character arc. A complete rejection of the noble lie. Painful, brutal honesty, finally admitting the truth, maybe more to himself than even to Skylar.
It confirms what Gilligan always seemed to suggest, right? The villainy was always there, latent. Cancer just let it out.
Exactly. It wasn't created by circumstances, it was awakened by them. The power, the thrill, the feeling of being alive that was the drug, more than the money or even providing for his family.
And the fan debates always circle back to that, don't they? When did he know? Was it always selfish, or did the power corrupt him gradually?
Gilligan's take, and what the show seems to land on, is that the seeds were always there. The ego, the resentment, the potential for ruthlessness. Cancer just gave him the excuse, the freedom to let it grow.
Which leads directly to the show's core message, according to Gilligan. Actions have consequences.
Karma is the great uncredited player in the cast. That's how he put it. Every choice has a ripple effect. Every action demands a reaction. No one gets away clean.
And no episode shows that better than Ozymandias. Just devastating.
The title itself, from the Shelley poem about the fallen statue of a great king, "Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." But all that's left is ruins.
Symbolizing the fall of empires, Walt built his empire on ego and violence. It was destined to crumble.
And it did. Look at the fates. Walt's life becomes hell, ends in death. Hank dead in the desert. Skylar ruined, alone. Jesse tortured, enslaved, scarred for life before escaping.
Everyone pays a price. No neat resolutions, just consequences.
It makes Walter White's story a classic tragedy, doesn't it? In the literary sense.
His fatal flaw.
Pride, unchecked ego, that deep, desperate need for control and recognition. It leads directly to his downfall, destroying everything he supposedly cared about.
It totally flips that cancer patient as hero idea on its head. He's not ennobled by his struggle, he's monstrously transformed by it.
The cultural impact is just immense, isn't it? Still talked about constantly. Bryan Cranston's performance, legendary. 4 Emmys.
Didn't Anthony Hopkins write him a letter saying it was the best acting he'd ever seen?
He did, which is incredible praise. And the fan theories, the pizza on the roof becoming a landmark, the endless analysis.
The bronze statues in Albuquerque, Walter and Jesse, immortalized.
And a snail named after Heisenberg, Spirillix heisenbergi. You know you've made it when you influence biological taxonomy.
Huh. But seriously, its influence on TV, the visual storytelling, the complex anti-hero, the serialized narrative, it changed things. One of the greats.
Undeniably. It forces you to look at uncomfortable truths about ambition, morality, ego.
So after wading through all this, the unlived life, the monstrous becoming, the lies, the consequences, what do you listening think? What truly defines a villain or a hero?
Is it the intention, the action, or is it that final chilling moment of honesty? I did it for me. What does that admission reveal?
Makes you wonder about the lines within ourselves, doesn't it? Between justification and truth.
And how sometimes the most ordinary surfaces can hide the most extraordinary darkness.
Definitely something to chew on. Keep thinking, keep watching, keep asking those deep questions. That's what great art does.
It stays with you. Makes you interrogate things.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the very complex, very disturbing, very brilliant world of Walter White. We'll catch you next time right here on Dingo.